I love that song. Anytime I hear it, I'm just like, I'm ready. It is Friday, March 27th, 2026, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps, where we as a collective, we just want to figure this thing out, right? We want these businesses that work for us and provide us with freedom and allow us to do amazing things with our families, secure our family's future. But there's a skill set, right? A lot of us love martial arts. Hey, Bob Poole, Goals Martial Arts. We love martial arts. But that doesn't mean you're going to be a great martial arts instructor. You become a great instructor. That doesn't mean you're going to be a great small business owner. So become a great small business owner. That doesn't mean you're going to become an entrepreneur. There are 4 different skill sets, and all of them you should be working on constantly, right? So that you can create this whole business that works for you, right? Often people will think, well, it's because I need to teach better. You always need to teach better, but maybe it's because you lack fundamental business skill set that's stopping you from budgeting right, stopping you from, creating a company that works for you. So we try to do all of that here at Success Never Sleeps, as we have for the past decade, and we're grateful to be able to serve this information to you. And it's because of our sponsors. What a great segue. We have Tucson, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All companies I work with that support my business. We use their products. So I'm not simply influencer or endorsing their products. I actually use them. So I have firsthand real-time experience to tell you that if you're not working with these 6 companies, you should. Or at least schedule a discovery call and find out what they are all about. Cool? We just finished our group mentoring call, and we're a small but mighty group, but I think we're honest. I think we're in the mix. All of us are business owners, school owners. We're in there. So we offer people real advice based upon where they are at. I think the greatest thing about being a teacher is learning to meet people where they are at. I was doing a call yesterday for Kin, and brilliant operator, Matt Tracy, brilliant operator, very, very successful, was advising somebody how to move from a competition school and balancing it out so they're, generating revenue in other areas of the business. And I had to challenge Matt. I said, Matt, you're doing $1.8 million a year. You have a 7,000-foot location. Let's dial that back. And what advice would you give him as a school in 2,000 square feet that has 50 students? How does he move from being this competition-based school into being a whole school that's profitable? He was talking about steps that he does today, where his success is. So I think what's unique about us as mentors, not consultants, is we meet you where you're at, and we give you real-time advice based upon where you're at, knowing with vision where you want to get to. And if you get that, you should be scheduling a discovery call with Marco or Jason or Monique or me. Cool? It's Time Live United. Looking forward to it, November 7th through 10th, right here, Millbrae, California. I've already had people reaching out. When's the date? When can I book? When can I book? I'm going to take care of that. I promise you I will. I'm just letting the buzz and the hype get what it needs to be. But as soon as you see this released, I advise you to please get signed up, because we all pretty much sell out every time. We get enough people to cover the 20. All right. 4-day retreat. Hang out with me and Marco and Jason and Monique. Just an amazing experience. And we have special guests coming too from time to time. 4 days with us, it'll change your life. So what is today all about, right? We talk about our different systems. How do we strive? How do we administer curriculum? How do people progress through the ranks? I think there's a couple of different schools of thought here. And I grew up like jiu-jitsu did. We had 5 belts, 1 belt every 2 years, no stripes. We tested pretty much when our instructor told us to, right? There wasn't a set syllabus, a set number of classes or anything. So there's been great progress since when I started. At least some people will do time-based. If you do, average 8 classes a month, a belt every 3 months, you got to do a minimum of 20 classes and you qualify for your next belt. There has to be something solid, systematic in place. If 1, you're going to grow your school, 2, you're going to retain your existing students. So write that down. Anything that we design when it comes to administering curriculum, belt testing, ranking, systems to support it, all has to be centered around those 2 things, right? Because if I don't see clear progress, if I don't see a clear path, then I won't retain my students and I can't grow my school. That's it. That's the way that goes. Hey, what's up, James? Is that James Walker? Yeah, Resilient Martial Arts. What's happening, James, in Colorado? So I'm very passionate about that. And the more clearer I can make that, the more impactful I will be. Because I want to have a system in place that empowers my parents. How can they tell their kid to practice, what to practice on, which is a standard one? I don't know what my kid should practice for next class. I have no idea, et cetera, et cetera. That does not cut it at all. So I've really spent a lot of years in creating systems where the parent and the student see a very clear path from white to black belt. We're still a little weak when they get into black belt prep, but now that we've redone all our curriculum from white to black, that's the one I'm going after next, black belt prep. I want them to have a clear path from the time they enter prep until they become black belts, because it's empowering. I can go to any college and know if I take these amount of units and these classes, I can earn a BA in engineering, right? So I think it's very important that we paint that picture clear. What we tend to do out of our own insecurity and fear is the parent needs to understand. Who's ever said that one before? Put it in the comments. Well, the parent needs to understand. The parent's got to understand. No, they don't. It is our job as a service-based business to create systems of communications. Things are so clear that the parent does understand. You with me? Okay, so let's start there. I think, we've all talked about rotating curriculum. I'm going to use that because we use a rotating curriculum that people just can't phantom. Because in the old days, I'm a white belt, right? Then in 2 years, I'll be a purple belt. The jump there, that's a lot of curriculum. And that's a lot of places. Hey, Vincent, what's up, Pareco? All the way from Chicago. Yeah. Excellent, sir. Excellent. I'm glad you're learning a lot. So we had a white belt, we had a purple belt. The learning curve, that's 2 years of curriculum. That doesn't work. I can't have that purple belt doing what a white belt does. It's boring. It's repetitive. At that point, they already know it. But you can realistically take 1 year of curriculum and create rotating curriculum. Because in the first year, think about it, right? From the time I'm a yellow belt to maybe, let's say, 2 belts later at an orange belt, there's not a lot of difference in the learning. So you can reasonably take a year of curriculum and create rotating around it, okay? Where all 3 belt levels, yellow, yellow, orange, and orange are all doing the same thing. So that's the first big thing I want you to, really get. Second, I think the big thing in year 1, everything needs to be centered around basics. A lot of basics. We actually have stripes that are one technique. I'm going to explain in a minute. One technique. Somebody said, wow, that's pretty boring. They do one technique for 40 minutes, 45 minutes of a class. No. You had a warm up, you had a stretch, maybe a life talk, a game at the end. Oh, all of a sudden we're looking at about 30 minutes of actual teaching, drilling, practicing. I can spend 2 hours on a single technique easily if we base it upon an acronym that we use. Let's say we're talking about a simple front kick. So, CAPS, write this down. KAPS. Okay? Knowledge. They have to know how to do a front kick. So what do? We sit them on their butt with their hands behind them. 1, lift your knee up. 2, kick towards the mirror. Can you do it like me? I'm kicking with the ball of my foot. Right? You tell someone to kick with the ball of their foot, they're never going to do that. But what they can do is visually copy you, right? So the instructor needs to do it with them. Does your foot look like mine? I'm kicking with the ball of my foot. You with me? Okay, 3, bend your knee. 4, put your foot down. Because we know balance is a big issue. You can't ask them to learn how to do a front kick if they're busy hopping around on one leg where they're hyper-focused on their balance. Eliminate balance for a minute. There's the knowledge. Then you can stand them up, have them hold the wall. Then they do the kick standing up, but using the wall to supplement their balance. Then, 3rd level, move them away from the wall. Put the right foot back, put their hands up, and do the same front kick. See that? Those 3 steps are going to give a better front kick. That alone is 5 minutes of a class. Accuracy. Ooh, they got to be able to hit the target. Take a clapper or a little hand pad, have them kick that. Maybe use a ring and kick through the ring and kick the hand pad. Okay, that's another 3-4 minutes. Now we do it for power. Everybody turn to the left, face the Wave Master bags, do 3 kicks on the bag, go to the end of the line. There's another 5 minutes gone. Then we do it for speed, right? This half of the room face this half of the room. You face each other. When I say kick, who's going to kick the fastest? Boom, okay? Or I can hold a pad and a noodle, kick the pad before I hit the top of your foot. There's a speed drill. Or who can do 10 kicks really fast? There's another speed drill. So again, if you base any single stripe based upon knowledge, accuracy, power, and speed, 30 minutes on one technique, they'll think they've done 10 different techniques because of your presentation. Tell me that you got that. Put your thoughts in the comments, right? I got some good operators here. We got Bob, we got James, we got Vincent. Put your thoughts about that. Yeah, but that was the biggest one because we used to teach front kicks standing up. Kids are bouncing around, falling down. And I'm going, this is not productive. I need them to learn to bend their knee, kick with the ball of their foot, bend their knee, and put their foot down. So we had them start from a sitting position. So it is not impossible. So the neat thing that's happening now in year 1, we're getting better martial artists. We just have to be better teachers and disguise the repetition with all these different drills to help support their learning. So they don't think they're simply doing a front kick over and over. And I've seen that. People standing there in front of a mirror doing sets of 10 and everybody counts to 10. Then the next guy counts to 10. Then the next kid counts to 10. That is boring. That is so boring, right? Have them jump over 3 pads and then do a front kick. Hey, we've changed the game. So again, I don't think it's how much you teach. It's learning to teach better. And if you focus on good basics, that's going to change the game tremendously. And I just wanted to give you that little tip on teaching because I used to have a form that was a white belt form or a pinyon or a pumse that now sits in year 4. That's how hard this form is. And there was no rhyme or reason why it was there at white belt. Really, there wasn't, right? Because it wasn't thought out. Here's a progressive curriculum. So if being open-minded to that is so, yeah, I teach round kicks and side kicks the same way. Right on, Bob. Because you do, because the kids are worried about balance. Balance is such an issue. And it's distracting when you're 7 years old because you don't have great balance. I need to take balance out of the equation. Someone said that. Well, we don't kick from the ground. Why do you do that? Well, because I want to teach them the fundamentals of the technique. I can't do that if they're hyper-focused on keeping their balance, right? Done day. All right, so let's get into it now. So for me, it begins with this. Learn week, earn week. Really clear. Everybody's walking into the school week, and we are on earn week, brown stripe 18. We're in week 2 of this stripe. It says it up on the wall. Earn week, brown stripe 18. Parent knows it, kid knows it, instructor knows it. That is the first thing. When everybody understands clearly what we are on in a way that has to do with earning a stripe, helps. The parent doesn't need to know that it's swooping eagle over the sunrise or anything like that. What they need to know, I am on earn week of brown stripe 18, right? Well, what does that mean to me as a parent? Well, your child, as you can see by their belt, they are level 1. Open up the app, click on the books, and your child can practice with level 1, brown stripe 18. We send that out in an email. We post that to our team to study so everybody understands what we're doing at any given time. So, learn week, earn week. At the end of earn week, everybody should have their stripe on their belt. Okay? 1 stripe. You ever have that parent come up to you and say, my child didn't earn a stripe this week? It says right there, we are on learn week, brown stripe 18. So this week, your child's learning a new stripe. Next week, they will be earning their new stripe. Oh, okay. Well, my kid hasn't earned a stripe, for the past 2 months. Well, looking at their belt, I see they have yellow, orange, green, and blue. That's 2 months worth of curriculum that we've covered, and your child has all 4 stripes. So be confident they are progressing. So visual learning to me has been one of the huge shifts in what I do. And I tell my team all the time, If you're talking for more than 30 seconds to explain a technique, we're done. Kids learn by doing, not by you talking. So do the technique with them as you're teaching. Visual learning goes really, really far. You with me? So having great curriculum videos are powerful, powerful, that people can actually use and practice with. The challenge is we don't want a demo video. It has to be, I taught this in class, and here's the things we need to reinforce. At the end of the video, you can say, now we're going to do it at performance level, and this is the way you need to do it to earn your stripe. But it has to be instructional first, okay? So having good curriculum videos in today's world, I bought a camera, I have some lights. You know, it's not a James Cameron film. It is a simple industrial video, instructional video, as we like to say. So you should be able to shoot them on your own. Just get a good Rode mic. Where's my mic? It's somewhere on there. Get yourself a good Rode mic, right? I have the Rode. A good Rode mic, right? You guys take care of that. You can shoot amazing videos. The point is, we live in a YouTube, TikTok generation. They learn by watching videos. You need to have good ones, though, okay? Please do that right away. Start with white belt. Record the white belt ones. Your retention will improve. Do it for year one. Your retention will improve. It simply will. But it has to be easily accessible via an app, a YouTube channel, however you want to do it. Vimeo is another one. Get it done. I can't express that enough. So, visual. Everybody sees it up on the wall. It says Earn Week, Brown Stripe, 18. My team knows it. My parents know it. The students know it. So everybody is working on earning it this week. Last week was Learn Week. That simple system has created a lot of clarity in my business. Learn Week, Earn Week. So guess what happened a week before Learn Week? In our instructors training, we all trained on Brown Stripe 18 for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, for black belt, first degree, second degree. There's a Brown Stripe 18 for all those levels. So when we train as a team, we train on what it is we're going to be teaching for the next 2 weeks. Everybody with me on that? It's so simplified. We're not asking our team to know all this curriculum. We're saying all you need is Brown Stripe 18 for year 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Black belt, first degree, second degree. So they're working on 7 different stripes. Your team is. That's how you make sure you're consistently delivering the curriculum at the highest level. And in smaller chunks like that, it's so much more manageable when you're training the team. It's so much more manageable for them to retain that information and go mimic it in a real class environment. Cool? Post your questions too as we go along. I love questions. So, Learn Week, Earn Week. Everybody got that? That way my team can communicate easily. They can communicate with parents easily. Everything is visual. If you tell me your kid hasn't earned a stripe this cycle, and we just finished it, which is 6 different stripes, I look at their belt. And that gives me a very realistic conversation to have with the parent about where their child is in a given cycle. So if we do Learn Week, Earn Week, that's 2 stripes a month. We do 3 months of that. So by the end of 3 months, how many stripes should you have on your belt? Go. How many stripes? 6, right? 2 a month for 3 months equal 6 stripes. So in an ideal world, next week we start review, makeup stripes, and belt testing. In an ideal world, 90%, 95% have all 6 stripes on their belt. Okay? Ideal world. Ideal world. Then in the month of April, we will do makeup stripes, reviewing, and testing in class. In class, right? In class. That's how we prefer to do it. People have busy lives, and we want to honor that. Okay? People say, you spend a whole month on belt testing? That's crazy. No, we lose a week right away for what? Spring break. If a child is coming twice a week, A day is curriculum, B day is sparring. Oh man, we lost a week because of spring break. So instead of 8 classes that month, they're coming to 6 classes. Out of those 6 classes, 3 of them are sparring classes. So realistically, they only have 3 classes. Yeah, that's probably our next evolution, folks. We're probably going, during belt testing month, we're probably going to eliminate the B day of sparring and make it a review, makeup, stripe, and testing day. Yeah, because we want better martial artists. So that'll be the next level, right? The next level that we're going to work towards. So the neat thing about that, and stay with me, we have no paperwork when it comes to belt testing. Wow, right? None. Zero. Nada. Because we took the belt testing fee, and honestly, I'm not going to step over $1 to pick up a penny. Realistically, what are you paying for? The belt? Okay, the belt? Sure. What's the belt? $5 wholesale? Now, I'm not holding a special Saturday belt testing, so is my payroll any higher if they're testing in their classes? No, it's not. So to tell somebody, well, you're paying this belt testing fee because we have to pay the instructors and we have to get your belt and da 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 da. It's just a line. I don't believe in it. So I choose not to do it. Only thing it's costing me is a belt because they're still working their regular hours, right? And it's such a better experience. When I first saw it at Wikipedia, and you're welcome to look at this, Black Belt Factory. If a school has 20 or 30 belts, you could pretty much call them a black belt factory because they charge you accumulative belt testing fees. Okay, I didn't like that. And also the perception, they always nickel and dime us. We're always, beyond the regular tuition. We're always paying for something, whether it's a weapon or a belt testing fee, or they have to attend this workshop, right? We're always having to pay more money. And I don't like that environment. What I enjoyed about Southwest when they came onto the scene and became one of the leaders in airlines is everybody flies the same. Right? No first class, none of that stuff. Everybody flies the same, which allowed them to produce this product that people were very attracted to. I want to create the same thing here. So everything is one monthly price. We looked at, I think we're at $279 a month for twice a week. That's pretty good, right? That's a pretty good amount to charge someone. And in there, that covers what you want to call a belt testing fee. So we done away with that. Because that awkward conversation, and you can tell me if everybody's had one of these. You finish belt testing, the parents in the waiting area, you're ready to promote this kid, but they have not submitted the belt testing fee. You got to go up to that parent and say, excuse me, ma'am, your son's finished testing. We want to promote them, but we need you to take care of this belt testing fee, right? And yeah, we have an app. We can do an event in my studio and send it to everybody and say, hey, register your kid for belt testing, and they pay the fee that way. We can't order their belt until you pay the belt testing fee. Sure, you can do that. That is not Disney to me. So we chose just to eliminate that altogether. I can't imagine how much I paid in administration time back when we used to have belt testing fees and forms because they didn't even have a CRM system back then. We had paperwork and doing all of this, collecting money. Not Disney at all, and not the culture of what we do at One Martial Arts to live your best life. So, no belt testing fees. So after 3 months, they come into April. They'll do it again in August, and they'll do it again in December. Why did we set it up this way? I know a lot of schools do 8-week testings because they're charging for it, right? And they're making more on belt testing fees if they do that. Again, I'm about creating the best experience because I believe retention-wise, they'll stay longer. We make our most money off their monthly tuition, not on nickel and diming them through belt testing fees, buying a weapon, etc. Okay? So, the reason we do a 3-month cycle with the 4th month of review, makeup, stripe, and testing, because it coincides with their regular elementary school schedule. As I shared in April, there's spring break, right? There's spring break. What happens in August? It's back to school. But you know how many kids come back so excited, and we're prompting them all summer long, right? Stay with me. In May, they're going to get 2 stripes. In June, they're going to get 2 stripes. So fundamentally, when they come back from vacation, which most, right? Most will come back from vacation with 3 to 4 stripes on their belt. The way our curriculum is set up, they'll be able to make up those stripes, get it done, and be back on track by September. That's why we do that in August. December, you're closed for a week because of the holiday break. So when people tell me you spend a whole month on belt testing, it is not a whole month. It's way, way, way exaggerated. Hey, Karth, what's happening? Karth is asking, what's the question, Marco? Do you know breaking in your kids? Do you have breaking in your kids' curriculum? If so, what type of boards and thickness? We don't. We have breaking only for black belt. And we chose to do that because their young bones are developing, and I don't want them to get bone spurs or calcium deposits. We get our boards from Vision, though, because we'll use them as a confidence building thing, birthday parties, in our booths, Karth. Go to Vision or to SAW. There's the real thin boards, there's the medium-sized board, and then what we call an adult-sized board, which is the 1-inch pine, right? It's a confidence building thing. For everybody under a certain age, we're using the real thin board. The next level, we use the medium-sized board and the thickest one. But we get them from SAW. They're also called Vision because price-wise, it's the most economical. I'm glad you're asking, Karth, because please don't use rebreakable boards. I can't take it home and show the parent that wasn't there. There's no Disney involved in that. I have a client that even took the board and they put their name on it, right? They actually have their name burnt into it, like a branding. So you can do that too. But that's who we use. And yeah, there is breaking at black belt, but it's really more the mental thing, the fear of getting hurt, and it needs to be a substantial board. If it's a board that's so thin, they're going to look at that and go, I can break that even if I didn't know martial arts. There's not that je ne sais quoi. There's not that impact, right? So we try to keep it special, and they break the thinner ones when they're younger, but black belt is adult-sized boards. And some of the breaks are 2 boards, right? They're there. So that is why we do belt testing in a 3-month cycle, with the 4th month being makeup stripes, review, and testing. Cool? You guys got that? Now, I said we're paperless. So we're going to start belt testing next week. Which stripe do we start with? Does anybody know? Which stripe are we going to start with in class? We did a yellow, we did an orange, then we did green, then we did blue, then we did red, and then we did brown. I chose to stay with those 6 colors because otherwise, their belt would look like a rainbow. And so we wanted to avoid that. But we do put numbers on the stripes. We do put numbers, okay? So while you're answering that question, which stripe we begin with in testing, somebody asked me, well, how come your stripes go January through April, stripes 13 through 18? Red, orange, green, blue, red and brown. Guess what we're going to be in from May to through August? Stripes 7 through 12. Guess what we're going to go into after that? We're going to go 1 to 6. Because when we first rolled out rotating curriculum, 3 belt levels in 1 level, right? Yellow, orange, and orange. This orange belt knew yellow, orange, and orange already. They already knew it. So we had to start with a curriculum that nobody knew, which was traditionally what we did in orange belt. The modification, of course, has been that yellow belt can do anything in that orange belt curriculum. That orange belt isn't bored if we're doing yellow belt curriculum. You with me? Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing I got from Roland Osborne when introduced to rotating curriculum. It just has to be age and skill level specific. And you can't tell me there's a vast skill level between somebody that's been there 4 months and somebody that's been there 8 months. There simply isn't. I would even say so much that up to 12 months, because that's 12 months of twice a week, 45 minutes a class. There's not a lot of difference between the month 3 student and the month 11 student. There simply is not, right? If they're coming twice a week. You with me? So that made a huge difference in the learning. So what do you guys think? We're coming into belt testing. What are we going to start on next week when we go into review? They have 6 stripes on their belt, right? Yellow, orange were earned in January. Green and blue was February. Red and brown was March. So where do we start? Where's the best place to start review next week? Anybody? Come on. Nothing. Come on. What do you think? You're critical thinkers. Help me out. And if anyone's sitting up there in the cloud, say hello. Tell us you're here enjoying this presentation on ranking, striping, all the rest. Take a stab at it. Where do we start next week for review? Anybody? I'm going to stop this walking pad. I've been walking on it since my last 2 meetings. Oh, my goodness. Anybody? I don't have any brave souls that want to take up my challenge on that. Where do we start? We start testing next week. Okay, I'm going to tell you. We're going to start with brown stripe because it's the newest, freshest thing on their plate. And then after we take care of brown, we go back to yellow. Yep, we want success. So by the time next week ends, everybody should be done with reviewing. If they don't have it, they make up that stripe and get it put on their belt, and we're testing them. And then it happens at the end of class. All of us have a Sharpie. All of us have a Sharpie. Hey, Jason, all of us have a Sharpie, and we're signing off that stripe. Remember, we have no paperwork, so we sign off that stripe. So over the month of April, once we get through all 6 stripes, we'll double back. Anyone that missed a class, get that makeup stripe finish. But ideally, when all 6 stripes have a signature signed by an instructor, they get promoted. And everyone's pretty much, happening about the same time, the end of week 2 into week 3. Now, what's been brilliant on TJ's part, in the old day, we used to tie their belts ourselves. When you're giving out belts to 20, 30 students at a time in week 3, that doesn't cut it. What does the parent want? They want a picture of the kid, not when you're tying their belt, but when you're awarding the certificate. So what we do now is we take the belt and we wrap the certificate around it, where you can see their name on one side. And we wrap it with a white rubber band, right? Because our certificates are white. My team even thought of that. I think it's brilliant. So the aha moment is when you're handing them the diploma and it looks like a high school diploma, right? That one used to be rolled up with the ribbon on it in the old days, right? And we're shaking their hand, handing them the belt with their name facing towards their parents' camera. Click, click, click. Social media moment. That, between 3 of us, we can get 20 to 30 students done literally in 5 minutes. And you leave that amount of time at the end of class, right? No dodgeball today. We got to do belt promotions. That's totally cool. That's acceptable during review month. You with me? Okay. So, no paper. Again, it's all visual. And a parent will come up to us. Hey, we're going on vacation next week with the holidays coming up, right? Here's December. I want to get their belt testing done. Can we get it done before the 15th of December? Well, yeah, absolutely, ma'am. They already got 4 out of 6 stripes signed. We'll make sure to cover those other 2 stripes that aren't signed off yet. So all I want you to study is please look at the curriculum videos for review for those 2 stripes they don't have, whichever they might be. Let's call them, I don't know, red stripe and brown stripe. Boom. See, so how the communication happens? This parent wants to be done, so they go on vacation. Right? We know what 2 stripes they need to be tested on because the belt has 4 of them signed, and we know what videos they should study. See? I mean, all of that has created this win-win culture where my instructors no longer have to say, let me go ask professor, right? And the most challenging was, my kid hasn't earned a stripe. Well, let's look at their belt. And the belt is the telltale, right? It's the telltale. At the end of month 1, you have yellow and orange on the belt. At the end of month 2, you have yellow, orange, green, and blue. At the end of month 3, you have yellow, orange, green, blue, red, brown. Any instructor can communicate with the parent where their child is in that cycle. Anybody can. And to be able to say, don't worry if they didn't earn that stripe this month. We will cover it in makeup, review, and testing. More the reason to stay through the cycle, right? At least the 4 months, because I know when I'm going to make up stripes and earn my next belt. Yeah, that form of communication for us has been huge, just really huge and impactful, right? I used to really get tense when so and so wants to talk to you. Their child's not earning stripes or progressing, right? It no longer happens. Or when we've all had those cases where I don't know how it happened, they haven't earned a stripe in 2 months. No, because we check everybody's belt. Now, once in a while, we had that kid yesterday, never brings his belt. We cannot tell where they're at. So that's a communication, a cultural thing. Please make sure you bring your belt. That way we know where you are. We know what stripes you need to make up, blah, 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 blah. So again, it's a visual system. And I shared that with you, like with inventory. We have plastic bins. I wrote a red line above, I think it's 6 or 8 uniforms. If the uniforms drop below that red line, you order them. That's simple because they just look at the box on the shelf. They don't have to take them out and count all of them. It's visual. If it drops below the red line, order this amount of new uniforms in that size. I love it. I love it. So it's the same thing here, right? It's the same thing here. Now, once belt testing ends, what happens next? Let's say it's year 1. Yellow, yellow, orange, and orange. Level 1, year 1. We go into my studio. We do a mass update. So all the year 1 students on the end of April, I think it's May 3rd or something, they're all going to get updated to their new belt. Guess what else we do? After we've inventoried belts, we order all the belts for 4 months out. Well, what if the kid quits? That's a small handful. Again, we want to be best prepared. What else do? We print all of the certificates in May for all of the level 1 students when they will be testing in August. Then guess what else we do? We wrap the belts with the new certificates. Yeah. So they sit in a laundry basket, and it's for my team, it's grab and pull. So what my team does, going back to the actual review month, right, is when the kids are walking in the door and the team are greeting them, taking attendance and tying their belts, they're looking. And if someone ties a belt and they have 5 out of the 6 stripes signed, guess what else they're doing? Anybody? What else are they doing at that point? Right? I'm tying your belt. You got 5 stripes, with a Sharpie signature on it. Guess what we do? Who's with me? Guess what we do? Come on. What are we doing? Nobody? We are pulling their belt and putting it in a separate basket so we have all these belts ready to promote at the end of the class. Again, I create all these systems to empower my team, to empower the parent, to empower the child, and create that Disney experience all the time. And all the team are trained on these systems so that they know exactly what to do. They know exactly what to say to the parent or the student, right? And we had a child yesterday. He didn't earn his stripe. He stood in the line, went up to my instructor and was waiting for his stripe. And the instructor said, well, sir, it's super important that you need to show me better effort and you practice that stripe. And if you come to next class and you show more effort, even though we're moving on to review and makeup stripe and testing month, we will cover that stripe. You will earn that stripe in class and test out, and you will be fine. So it's super important. Accountability comes with that, but we're ever really, really, really mindful of what goes into that as well. Cool? Everybody good on that? All right. So then again, May, we order belts for level 1. We make certificates, rewrap the belts. Okay? In June, we take care of year 2 and 3 because they're smaller. You're going to find year 1's the biggest. In July, we'll take care of everybody that's black belt, 1st degree, 2nd degree, all that happens there. So that way it's manageable for my team. So as we come into the next cycle, which will be August, right? May, June, July, 6 stripes, August, review, makeup, stripe, and testing. When we come into August, those belts are wrapped in laundry baskets, ready to go. And we separate them by years, right? Level 1 is in this basket. Sometimes it takes up 2. Level 2 in this basket, level 3 in this basket, level 4 and up in that basket. Yep, that's how we do it. And the thing is, it's paperless. It's not being stressed out. We've all been there. How many times you go into promotion and you're missing a belt and you have to scramble and go get one from a fellow school owner or something? We've all been there too, right? We've all been there too. So again, I've looked at all these different roadblocks that comes with that whole process, and I've eliminated them. So let's review. It starts with learn week, earn week. So everybody's very clear when we're earning a stripe in class and when we're not. Number 2, there's a clear path from earning stripes to getting to your next belt month, right? Review, makeup, stripe, and testing. 6 stripes. And 6 stripes are extremely manageable because it's not uncommon for somebody to come into belt testing with 4 out of 6 stripes. Absent, pediatrician appointment, other sports, all of that happens. So it's manageable. We're at about, I don't know, about a 95% graduation rate on any given cycle. And we've set it up that way. But it's taking modifications in curriculum. It's taking advancing our teaching methods. So, we're not compromising the integrity of the martial arts, but still producing a good martial artist and getting them there on task, right? When I hear somebody say, well, Harvard, when you go to Harvard, only 10% of the people graduate because it's so hard. It shouldn't be that way. It should be the opposite. We should be doing everything we can to produce better martial artists and moving them through our belt ranking system. Cool? So 6 stripes, 3 months. Again, all the belts are ready, wrapped with their certificate, good to go when we come into the 4th month of any belt testing cycle, right? And again, the way we have it set up with the curriculum videos on the app and all those different things, there's not a single person there. Well, there's always going to be some, because that's what's called meaning making when I say there's not a single person, because there'll always be somebody that doesn't look at the video, doesn't listen in class, doesn't read the e-newsletter, doesn't see it up on the TV. Oh, from this date to this date, they're doing stripe 17 and 18. They won't look at that wall, the hanging on the wall. Oh, you're on earn week of stripe 18, brown stripe 18. There's people who simply won't do that. And to me, it's a wonderful challenge to find another better way to communicate so even that parent gets it. Because communication is the key to retention. Make no mistake. If you're not communicating well to your parents and students and they don't understand how to progress, you'll fail. Yeah, I got to work on black belt prep. I said that to another group. That's my weakest area right now is black belt prep, right? We want to make sure that once you enter black belt prep, it's a clear picture of what it is you need to do to earn a black belt within a year. Yeah, we always have a couple who defer, the test like a year, 3 months in, a year, 6 months in, but I don't want that. We should be so tight and so right and so prepared that when you enter black belt prep, that you're reviewing everything you need for your test is handled in an orderly fashion. So even us, we're still making improvements. We're still making improvements. But the littlest of things, like buying a camera rig and a microphone so that we can tighten these videos up at will, and then have someone great like Marco that authors them for me, we have redos all the time. When we improve our curriculum and we teach it in class and it doesn't work, then we need to go change it. And how do you know it doesn't work? The team angsts over teaching it and the student is bored out of their mind learning it. Those two things. And if both rear their ugly head, I encourage you to take a hard look at that curriculum and ask yourself, is this good curriculum? Yeah, I shared that in the mentoring meeting. I had a form at year 1 at beginner, white belt, that sits in year 4 now. It was so hard. And I don't know why it was there. No rhyme or reason, but it's so great to see somebody in year 4 embrace this form and love it and learn it and get it. When we taught it at white belt, it was one of the most painful, horrible experiences. My retention was crap. You're trying to make this brand new student earn a form that belongs in year 4. Come on now, right? But again, the evolution of who we are and what we do. Cool. All right. So I'm going to leave it open to some questions now as we begin to wrap this thing up. Again, I'm a huge advocate of curriculum. I'm a nerd. I'm a curriculum nerd. I've worked with curriculums in BJJ, Shotokan. I've worked with kung fu, karate, the basic learn, earn, and having this striping system that falls in line with the elementary school calendar is such a good day. It is such a good day. And I can't tell you how it's really improved our retention, especially when people are going away for the summer, right? 2 stripes in May. Hopefully, they're still here in June. They get 2 more stripes, you know. Then they know I go on vacation for a couple months. I come back. I'll make up those 2 stripes during review month and I'll get my belt. That's so powerful. That alone was huge in what we do. And again, I think recognizing we spend a whole month, because it's not really a whole month with a week for spring break or a week of preparing for back to school or a week of Christmas break, and their B day is sparring. It is not a whole month. That's a huge misconception when people challenge me on that. I think that has been monumental. And now we're beginning to witness it already. We've greatly improved our retention at both locations. We're watching our sign-up rate and people staying past 3 months, 6 months, already improving because we revamped year 1 curriculum. There are no forms. We start them in year 2. A lot of year 1 is single techniques. But as I shared at the top of the show, you have to disguise the repetition. If you can take one technique and teach it for what? 2 classes, right? Because A day is curriculum, B day is sparring, right? If you can do that and disguise the repetition, you're going to have better martial artists and such a better experience. We just had to commit to this is what we're going to teach them. In order to do so, this is what needs to happen. Yeah. So sometimes it's one technique, and I'm going to tell you that here's the other beauty of that. We'll do something like an 8-move sequence. Now, we know the human brain can comprehend 3 to 8 moves. As they're younger, lesser, much lesser. But we shore it up by, let's say we do one technique, or let's say one technique, then the next stripe is 8 techniques. That gives you some leeway because the stripe after that 8 is one technique again. So you always have room at the end of the class to double back and get makeup stripes too. Right. That's the beautiful thing about the new curriculum we've developed. We can sit there and get through a learn week of a technique and then look out and go, okay, this kid's missing yellow. This kid's missing orange. Let's double back and get them. That we never had that time before. We were scrambling to just simply teach the curriculum we're trying to teach in that time block, in a given class. Now we're finding we actually have the luxury of doubling back and getting the other kids stripes, which better positions them for review, makeup, stripe, and testing in month 4. Yeah, I know. It's overwhelming, but I want you to really think about it, spend time with it, and reach out to me. Again, we make most of our money on the mat teaching classes. We should be investing and having hyper focus on creating a better Disney experience, not only in curriculum design, but curriculum administration, right down to what happens on the mat, creating that Disney experience. That's what it's all about. You with me? All right. So let's by thanking our sponsors, Marco. Today's been a good show. We have Tucson Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. People I work with, people that impact my business, and I would encourage you to set up a discovery call with them. Cool. Me and my mentoring team, Marco, Jason, Monique, we're proud of what we do. We're mentors, not consultants. We are school owners like you who every day apply these things in real time, and we can tell you with real data whether it works or it doesn't. So you should schedule a discovery call with Marco, Monique, or Jason, or myself. I'll be happy to talk to you. It's Time Live United is coming up. Yeah, November 7th through 10th. You need to be here. It's not 2 days in Vegas, right, where you go to seminars and just catch up with people. No, it's 4 days of a retreat in intensive learning where you work on your personal development, you work on systems, you work on staff training, you work on branding, you work on marketing, you work on social media, you work on wealth building, and most important, a lot on working on yourself to be the best version. Cool? Yeah. So once that comes out, make sure you sign up for it. I hope at the minimum today you go back and watch this show a bunch of times. I hope at the minimum you realize what it takes just in the level of thinking to produce curriculum that's relevant, curriculum that's impactful, curriculum that your team gets, curriculum that your parents and students get, and curriculum that improves your retention. Because if your curriculum and what you do on that mat is not producing revenue, then you need to go back to the drawing board. The solution is not always 10 new students. I always go for what matters most, the instructor and the curriculum we're teaching. And if we're creating the safe, supported environment of learning, the potential is unlimited. Cool? Cool. All right. Hey, where do you find me? Everybody, where do you find me? You can find me in my podcast is everywhere, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Stitcher, everywhere. There's 10 years worth of learning of Success Never Sleeps. You go back and watch it from day one, you'll be able to run your school successfully. I believe that because I've had people come to me and say, I've been following you for years, and it's impacted my business to tune of this much. Cool? Subscribe to my Instagram. Everything else, they can go to brannonbeliso.com. Marco, thank you for holding down the fort. Everybody that was here today. Again, share this with people. Curriculum design is the heart and soul. The way we administer, the way we deliver it, the Disney experience is what I think will set you apart from anybody else that's there. Cool? All right. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, you go out there, live your best life.